Well, I see a grand total of those folks who didn't do nothing, and
yeah, dude,
the guy over there
fucking
who's
said the
in his
truth.
vehicle.
You fucking. Are you okay? So you got back from the hospital last night?
I
right?
did. I did. I saw you this morning, remember?
I sat in front of the field over there. I found his other boot. So he
Very
lost
nice.
his boot last night. And
I was there for that.
Gosh. Shit, man. He found his other boot.
I was actually just going to come right over here and sit down.
I'm right there.
Yep.
Yeah, like right there.
That's where I'm going to stand.
I'll be here trying to get a beer. I'll come and sit with you here soon.
Well, I'm not going to make you.
You don't have to.
Actually, I'm on a specific mission. That guy that decided he was going to dose me yesterday with fucking meth in my drink.
I was thinking about that. It was like, yeah,
yeah, I got up to the hospital. Sure enough, it was meth.
And you had the poke?
Do what?
The poke in the field?
No, they just had me do the UA.
Gosh, so that motherfucker did it.
Yeah, well, not them, but one of the guys that hangs out down there at the meth camp. So I'm hoping he rides by. He's got a green bike.
Gosh. So are you still able to give me a Cascade?
I might be able to.
Okay.
I noticed, obviously, you didn't get on the bus.
No, I didn't. I was too busy trying to get a beer. And I met them.
Totally.
And I was like,
yeah, the folks who work here are pretty badass. Anyway, I got to get down there. Apparently, there's an ass whooping waiting for me if I get busted.
Goodness gracious. So do you want somebody to walk with you?
Sure.
I gotta wrap up myself, but we can walk with you.
That'll work. Safety in numbers.
Beer. No fear. Let's go. All right, so we're literally right. It's literally just like right here. I don't have any.
Here's the way I look at it.
Yeah, sure. Come on.
I figure, if people want to do drugs, that's their choice. Their body, their choice. But when you put drugs into somebody's drink and you give them a drink as a gift and don't tell them there's drugs in there, you're trying to kill people. So, that's a hell of a house.
It's only a blanket and a Camelback. I can carry water. So.
Well, it's better than nothing. Dehydrating fucking sucks.
Shit. I'm trying to get a beer. Shit. All right. So, could I meet you back there? Actually, it was to go back with, but.
Well, I'm just walking around the other side of the Hampton to see if anyone's there. If the tweakers are there, I'm gonna film the ones I'm looking for in specific, and maybe I'll get out of there without getting my throat slit.
Goodness gracious, right.
Okay, the way I look at it, it's either do something about it or let them do it to somebody else, and that ain't cool. Who the hell's messaging me now?
Hey, I gotta go ask this guy for a beer. If we meet you back over there, your car's still good. We were checking up on it.
Oh, no, I'm not going that far. My car's up in town right now.
Oh, what? Already? Yeah. It was good?
Well, I make sure I get stuff done.
Oh. I gotta go ask this guy for beer.
You're good. So, yeah. Getting positive IDs. You'd think it would be. I did get a hold of Laura. She does actually, I'm sure she's aware of who I'm talking about, but she's, well, she lives in that tent city too. So, whether she's supposed to be a homeless advocate or not, well, there's still the fact that she's got to live in and among them meth heads. And they won't do nice things to her if she helps me. As far as finding somebody else with intestinal fortitude for such a thing, yeah, I'm not likely to find anybody. There's only one Sean Schwartz. That makes it difficult. You know, you got to stand together or you get nothing. When you got one person who's trying to do everything and doesn't have the resources, while 100 people who have the resources and promise to help are sitting on their asses and wasting time, you know, you ain't doing no good for nobody, least of all yourself. How the hell are you going to do any good for me? You wanted to reach out. You wanted to stick your nose in somebody else's business. You wanted to manipulate. You wanted to play games. And of course, then you want to be angry when I speak up. Well, maybe you should have thought about it before playing head games. Either you were going to speak up or you weren't. If you weren't going to speak up, you shouldn't have lied to me. I wouldn't have wasted my time. If you were going to speak up, well, why the hell did you decide to go coward instead? The most shameful thing for most of these people is that after telling me things that are recorded coming out of their mouths, and those recordings are on my YouTube channel, these idiots want to claim it's slander. Well, that usually lasts until they get sent the first video with their voice in it. Then it's just time to block somebody. At that point, yep, the smart ones block me. They don't want to get in trouble for what they did, so they hide like rats. Alright, it looks reasonably clean over here. And this is about my turnaround. I'm gonna go take a right here at the corner, and then I'll go underneath the bridge over there. And if I don't run into who I'm looking for, well, I suppose that's a good thing. It reduces the risk of physical violence. But also, if I do run into the person I'm looking for, that's a good thing too, because I can take me a picture. Bonjour, folks. Well, this is that video where we were moving Drew's stuff. That's where I parked my vehicle. This is where we dragged the stuff to initially. And dragged it there from right over there, and some of it right over here. This area is, of course, got a lot of stuff cleaned up. Looks like somebody left their trousers here. They're all torn up. Now, anywhere that the homeless people live, it's gonna end up looking like someone lived there. That's kind of the nature of living there. If you make them live in one area, sure, that one area is going to look lived in. If you make them move every month, well, then that's 12 places that look lived in. And then you complain that there's all these places where the ground has been destroyed. Well, hey, quit pushing people off. Quit making them go to somewhere else when they don't have anywhere else to go. Have you designated a place for the homeless, or do you just try to get them to move along, move along, move along? Anyway, this is the trail here. Of course, it's right off the beaten path. You take that little trail there on the other side of the fence, and it takes you down into Tweakerville. There's a couple of people over there who are sober, but not very many. The sober camp is actually way the hell over there. There's a tweaker camp over there and a heroin camp over there. Well, 2 tweaker camps and a heroin camp. The second camp, the one that was all fucked up and shut down when I first got here, that's the one that the guy with the brass knuckles and Jacob and all them taken. Figured it was already cleared out. It ought to be alright. Anyway, I know the guy lives in Jacob's camp. I know which one's his. Of course, I'm not going to go walking into that camp. And those guys are not likely to walk out of it. I always hope for the best. When people say hope for the best but prepare for the worst, holy shit, they ain't kidding. That's one of the things about, well, when you've been through severe quantities of abuse. That's cool. For a second I thought it was a biohazard bag. You know, when we try to turn in our abusers, especially as a male, you guys are pretty fucking evil to us. No matter what, everything's our fault. You don't care about evidence, because evidence goes against the Me Too witch hunt. Me too, me too, me too, unless me happens to be a male, in which case it's get to the back of the bus, it's all your fault, you dominant male monkey, pig dog, and so on and so forth. You've heard the rhetoric. I did get probably about 5 or 6 cat naps in today. I'm still feeling the effects of that asshole putting that shit in my soda. On the bright side, although I am probably going to have issues for a couple of days, at least I was reasonably safe enough to move out of the parking lot over there at the marina so I don't get towed. As far as those lollygagging morons go, well, they should have just swung on me. Would have been a lot easier. Would have cost them a lot less. I don't mind taking an ass whooping on principle. However, you don't fucking dose me, dude. Don't fucking do that. Do not put drugs in me. I consented to a soda pop, not methamphetamines. Anyway, I guess the little bastard's name might be Adam. I don't know for certain. Doesn't seem as if I have really made any friends here as far as Facebook goes. So it doesn't exactly work to see if we have any mutual friends and try to get his picture that way by following the links. Of course, I'd basically have to get lucky and happen to see his picture there. It's not like that's a common thing. There's a lot of people throughout this situation who did fucked up things to me. Most of them are dead. I mean, not as in most of them, because there were a lot of them, but most of the ones that did the most fucked up shit, they're dead. The ones who stabbed me in the back the worst, they're all dead. Well, with the exception of Candace Bondurant and Kayla Trujillo. None of the rest of these people were capable of fucking me over that way. It's because none of the rest of these people, well, at the very beginning when it made a difference, none of these other people were there. They were just pretty words, and in most cases, pretty words that I couldn't even reply to because so many predators wanted to come at my Facebook and complain that every goddamn thing on it was spam. Well, they changed the algorithms after that, so they can't do that anymore. That doesn't stop them from trying. Anyway, there's a couple more quarter machines to check. Here's one. I probably already checked it, but at night sometimes people try to use them anyway. Sometimes people will get drunk and they'll drive a grand total of an entire flipping block and then repark their vehicle and put change in. I've seen them do it. Bar crowds. You know, as uncomfortable as it is for me to see somebody get into the vehicle all drunk as a skunk, it's a beautiful thing when they only make it a block, realize that they're being stupid, pull over and park the sumbitch. Most people ain't that bright, not even sober. So I guess the real magic question here is, do you tilt when you should withdraw? If you guys get that reference, you're, well, pretty uber nerds. Anyway, I'm gonna wander around for a little bit. Try to find me some decent sized snipes to smoke later. And hopefully I run into those idiots wandering around. I get to take a picture of them. All right. Obviously that area down there is not a good idea to go into at night. It's difficult to see. And of course, I'd have to hold a flashlight and my camera at the same time, which can be done. Of course, if I get assaulted while I got something in my hands, they'll try claiming that I assaulted them with a weapon. You'd think that having the footage on camera would make a difference, but no, when you're called mentally ill and your predators are fucking cops primarily, you're homeless, yeah, the only chance you have of getting to show evidence in court is for people to speak up. If you're a coward like Candace Bondurant or a fake ass friend like Katie Cahill, or, of course, Kayla Trujillo, well, on the bright side, it's not my fault you're a little punk. Just because I care about you, however, doesn't mean I gotta lay you down and be your little bitch. A lot of you idiots, you wanted to take the word help. Well, yeah, I do need help. But you wanted to take that to mean that you get to be in control. Well, no, you don't know shit about the situation. Why the fuck would you be in control? That don't make any fucking sense. Especially if you're not going to look any of this shit up. Like, if you're just going to tell me how to think and how to feel, and you've gone out of your way not to look at fucking evidence, you don't have any goddamn clue what's going on. What makes you think that you get to be the boss of me? You like how I said that? Alright, there any decent snipes in here? Nope. No good ones. Alright, well, we had a look, didn't we? Let's see if anybody threw any underneath. Nope, nothing good. On the bright side, I did find them two right there, so we're good to go. Do I have an addiction? Yes, I do. I'm not just any Sean, I'm a dick, Sean. Did you like what I did there? So, do you think I'd make a better Obi-Wan Kenobi? Or a Qui-Gon Jinn? Or maybe a Sean Solo? Possibly Jean-Luc Picard? Anyway, I'm gonna get back up to my vehicle. I've been walking around a little bit too long with, I'm starting to get boot rot on my feet. So I gotta go change my socks and that'll work. That drunk feller back there, he's the one who's, well, for the last few days been the screamer, of course. I might yet take him to Cascade. I haven't decided yet. It depends on, of course, gas and my vehicle's temperament in the morning. If we leave early enough or if we leave late enough, my car shouldn't have any problems. But during the heat of the day, holy hell. That thing goes through a lot of friggin' antifreeze. Now, I was planning on taking him today. But like he said, his beer search got in the way, so no harm, no foul. Obviously, I don't owe it to him to take him. I did make sure that I let him know where the cat stop was, so if he wanted to leave today and life happened, like it did, of course, he would still be able to get out of town. Of course, when people are drunk, they're not exactly that well motivated. Well, since I'm a better painter than these people, maybe I should come into this store. Make everybody feel bad. Paint some pretty birdies. That seems to be what the majority of the pictures in there are. And I think it would probably be cool to paint birds like the people here do. But we got a lot of really cool dinosaurs. Now birds, I'm not sure if you knew this, they're classified as living dinosaurs. Now we classify dinosaurs mostly today into the avian and the non-avian sort. The avian dinosaurs, that would be pigeons, emus, hawks, every bird. Every single bird is an avian dinosaur. Now, if they're gonna have pictures of birds, well, they already got pictures of birds. Somebody ought to paint something cool like Archaeopteryx, or maybe, I don't know, I kind of like the Microraptor. The idea of having, kind of flying like a bipod, or not a bipod, a biplane, looking like a biplane with, you know, their back legs were feathered too. Same as the front wings. So that's Microraptor, of course. Archaeopteryx did have feathers on the hind legs, but they weren't anything close to being flight feathers. But Archaeopteryx is considered to be the first bird, and it had teeth. whereas the Microraptor is not considered the first bird. But the Microraptor is actually older than Archaeopteryx, and it for surely could fly. Now there's an interesting debate about this. Part of it is because of shoulder joints. They're in reverse, the ball and socket are. They're in reverse from what a bird would be today. So that's something where people say, oh, there's this one big, huge difference, so it must not be a bird. Well, if you look at the way that it might possibly have flown, because it's a might possibly. We don't know for sure because we've never seen them fly. I've gotten to see dynamics of dinosaurs change so much in my life. Back in the 80s, everything dinosaur stood upright. T-Rex would stand almost to the top of the building in the Denver Museum of Natural History. I remember when I was younger, I got to go there once on a field trip. And I got to see the body of King Tutankhamun. He was famous for a while. King Tut. Nice exhibit too. It looks like the thing that I found in here was refound by somebody else. Very cool. It was one of those nice little things, where people put together a little game. They'll go hide something somewhere and it's got some cute little trinkets in it. And if you find it, it's got a note in it saying you can keep the trinkets. Just put some different trinkets in it and hide it somewhere else and pass it on, of course. So there's 2 different ones in town that I found. And there was somebody telling me that they got a thing here. It's actually all over the United States with the GPS, where people will leave stuff, and then of course if you go out there and you search for it with your GPS, you get to keep it. And kind of the same thing here in Hood River. Although, like with most everything, it's just a rumor until I've seen the truth of it. It's always a pretty important note to make. There's a lot of people who promised me that they were going to do things, and I was so glad that they were going to do those things because it's what I really needed. And of course, I made sure I spoke out so that my intentions were known, and hopefully that would cut my predators off from any of their dirty little tricks and sleight of hand, as Marcia Estrada calls it. The best way to prevent shit like this from happening is to take an active role and to actually have a plan. When you're abused, I want you to pay attention to how many people I went to about abuse who completely fucked it up over and over and over again, saying that it's not their job. But then later on they tell me, oh, well, Sean, we can set it up so that next time it happens we can do something. No, fuck next time, because next time you're going to be the same bitch you are this time. Telling me it's not your fucking job. Leading me on that it is, like Jen Beebe did, of course. First, she wanted to tell me that, well, her job was not actually her job. And her boss had to tell her, no, Jen, this is your fucking job. This is what we pay you for. You are supposed to advocate for him. The problem is, who's going to make her? When it's just me and Jen, who's going to make her do her job? Because just like anybody else, Jen can use that mentally ill tag to try to justify any and all crimes she commits against me. Meanwhile, the only reason she's committing crimes against me is because she knew she'd get away with them because of the tag of mentally ill. Y'all tired of hearing the word mentally ill? Alright, that had a little bit of vomit behind it, but it only went halfway up my throat. Pleasant. Anyway, I didn't find who I was looking for. So, there's always tomorrow. There was a gentleman that I spoke with today from the Department of Health and Human Services Adult Protective Services Division out of the Dalles. And they do indeed want me to go there. They seem to be, of course, ignoring the situation with the cops and only wanting to focus on the homeless issue. Meanwhile, this homeless issue wouldn't be an issue if the fucking cops did their goddamn jobs instead of targeting homeless people because we're easy. It's kind of like rapists. Rapists go out and they find the people it's easiest to victimize, and that's who they rape. Oh, she's half my size and walking alone? Now that right there is how predators think. When I preach at people about safety in numbers, that ain't a joke. That guy earlier who's drunk, talking about walking with me, well, of course I accept that, despite the fact that he's drunk. I know there's a possibility if somebody starts shit, then he's not going to be able to control his emotions. And, well, that's something. It's important to understand that you are allowed to have emotions, but it is not okay to get drunk and fucking beat the shit out of people. Or to antagonize a situation that doesn't need to be antagonized. However, when it gets to the point that the situation does need to be antagonized, you best step the fuck out the way, because I'm going to do me some antagonizing. I don't want other people committing crimes for me, on my behalf, or in my name. And I'm quite insulted that people do that with Jesus' name. I don't think they read the fucking book. You know? Like God, he was a wrathful and vindictive God. Jealousy controlled God, according to the Bible. Fire and fucking brimstone is what God was all about before Jesus. And then Jesus, he teaches this message of peace, right? And then we get all these Christians who want to tell us about Jesus' message of peace while telling us about how much they hate Muslims or how everybody else is going to hell. And then basically all they teach is the Rambo Jesus. And does that make any sense? Like, Jesus' whole message was to get away from the violent, wrathful, hateful bullshit and actually teach people to not be pieces of shit. The 10 Commandments are great. Even without the idea or advent of a God, 5 of those commandments are still great. 5 of them. That's because 5 of them are about how not to insult your fellow man as far as his possessions on earth, or a woman for that matter. The other 5 are for how not to insult fucking pussies. How not to insult people who are going to throw a goddamn tantrum because you don't believe the same fucking ignorant bullshit that they do. Yeah, sure, you go ahead and believe in your Baptist God. My neighbor believes in a Lutheran God. I went to a Foursquare church. Of course, we also got the Catholic churches, and I've known people that were Catholic as well. And of course, we want to go after the Catholics, don't we? That's a fun one. Let's blame all of the Catholics. You know, we got to make all of these Catholic priest jokes. But then let's take a look at the other churches. I mean, really, are the Lutherans doing any better? No, they're a part of this shit show too. That's not saying they were in cahoots with the Catholic Church. But it is to say that the Lutheran Church, yes, did indeed cover up for child molesting pastors. That's the Lutheran Church. Now let's look at the Baptist Church. 3 different times in 1 month, Baptist churches were up for the collective touching of children. Of course, we don't even have to go to the Baptist Church or the Lutheran Church or the Catholic Church, because really, pedophiles come in every shape and size. When they pick a position of authority, it's tough to get them out of that position. Now, a lot of these predators, they'll play nice until they get their power position. At that point, though, they're gonna hire people who are like-minded. They're gonna hire people who are at least as crooked as they are, if not worse. Now, why is this? Well, first of all, they want to be able to hold something over that sumbitch's head to keep them in line. Second of all, well, let's take a sheriff, for example. If the sheriff's a chimo, and all his underlings are child molesters as well, he's a lot less likely to get turned in by his coworkers, because they don't want to get prison time and get ass raped in an alpha unit either. They will go to an alpha unit. That's where they go. Now, alpha units, that's not the same as, well, like what you guys would consider, oh, alpha, that must be like an apex predator unit. No, there ain't nothing apex about chimos or cops. Nothing apex about that. You have to be a coward to do either job. And I do consider them jobs. If it weren't for those sick, perverted fucks like Tim Beeson and Ted Bollinger, well, we might not know to protect ourselves. Because if it's not Tim Beeson or Ted Bollinger, it's going to be somebody. And it'll always be somebody until you do something about it. The more you get off your ass, the more lives are saved. Sure, you want to ignore the little boys, I get it. But are you ignoring the little boys at the expense of those little girls? Because that don't seem like a very intelligent thing to do. To decide one person is more victim than another because of gender, because of color, because of religion. Now, being here in Hood River, there's a lot of veterans here. There's a lot of people that were in the military. And you know my stance on that too. I have zero respect for any U.S. soldiers. But I have the utmost respect for veterans. One in 8 homeless people were United States military service members. 1 in 8. 1 in 10 was a combat veteran. You know what combat means, right? So I've had combat veterans out on the streets that said, after getting out of the military, who said they didn't know it was going to be like this. Well, of course you didn't know it was going to be like that. For you, homelessness was a joke between you and your parents and your siblings. You see that guy on the corner who's holding the sign and you guys giggle and make jokes. And of course, most people in the military are not us poor people, and certainly ain't the rich. It's primarily middle-class working families. It's primarily people who grew up with decent families, and they have this idea that the United States is their parents' house. So when they're 18 years old, they leave their parents' house to go join the military to murder people for what they think the United States is. But the fact is, Uncle Sam is not cooking your grandma's chicken and dumplings. He has no idea how to make French fried casserole. Doesn't know how to make tater tot casserole. United States government doesn't give 2 shits about you. What they care about is what they can get out of you. What do they get out of the homeless? An example. Holy shit, that's some good weed. Where are you hiding? Jesus. Alright, so the wind is coming slightly from that direction, and it seriously smells like you got 10 skunks having a farting contest. That's how potent that weed is, but I can't see anybody. Oh, I do. I do. It was so strong, I expected the dude to be by one of those vehicles over there, but he actually was walking around the corner down there. Anyway, I'm not sure how long it'll take me to get back to, well, I'll never be at 100%, but to get back to where I was a few days ago before that asswipe dosed me. I know that's the wrong term. Dosing is for when you're talking about hallucinogens, but the thing is, this dude tried to drainbow me. I'm not sure if you guys know about hippie revenge, but one thing that's popular is if you don't like somebody, you can't bring yourself to kill them, so you just give them enough acid that they never come back to reality. Well, unfortunately, those idiots, goddamn. My phone